Hello, everyone. This is Shahat Sharma, and you're listening to Startup Rise podcast. Our guest today is Mr. Avi Feldman and Dr. David Abraham. Mr. Feldman serves as a managing partner at Mobilion Ventures. Dr. Abraham recently joined Mobilion Ventures as a managing partner, partnering with Mr. Feldman. Additionally, he holds the role of deep tech expert within the organization. Mobilion Ventures is the leading automotive venture capital. It is the only global early stage venture fund that invests in smart mobility, focusing on aftermarket innovations and digital automotive services. It's such a pleasure to host you on the show together. Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Let's start the conversation without wasting any time. My first question is, what matrices do you consider when evaluating startups for potential funding?
So when we are investing in new startups, first of all, we are purely within the mobility sector.
Yes.
We focus on early stage mobility startups. Those need to be in, or we focus on three main pillars of activity within the mobility ecosystem, which are sustainable mobility. So anything that can perform and show decrease in carbon emission and greenhouse gas emissions.
Yes.
That's one sector of interest. The other one is digital mobility services. This is a very wide area within within mobility, but we believe that everything that can be digital within and around mobility, and not only automotive, will be digital. So that's another area that we focus on. And the third part is urban mobility, because we understand that most of the public will use mobility services, and mobility would be in and around the city. So the city is our focus.
Okay. That's really interesting. Building on that, could you please tell us more about the hurdles that you face as a deep tech expert in understanding, investing in, and deciding on deep tech innovations specifically in automotive innovation?
So I would say that the challenge here is to find, on one hand side, deep tech innovation, with understanding that the market needs exactly those solutions, because you can find very good innovations.
Yes.
But in many times you would find that either the market, it's too early for the markets, it's they are already having fierce competition. I'll give you just two examples on that. For example, in micro mobility, you may find tens and maybe even more than that of electric micro mobility solutions.
Yes.
How would you find the best one within this entire group? Or driver monitoring. You may find different solutions. For example, all the DMS driver monitoring systems are already commodity. So when you are trying to define, it's not only having good technological innovation, but also having a market fit.
Okay.
And in order to do that, in order to find a match, you need to work with those that are already having a foot at the ground. So working with mobility operator, with tech companies, with global technology providers that are already in those markets and already experiencing the need for a change, and with them you're able to really define which of the potential solutions would fit the market the best way. David, maybe you have additional insights on that?
I have read about it, specifically automotives and deep tech, but I don't have the whole information about it. Yeah, that's why I'm here to learn more about it.
Let me add maybe additional hurdles after spending so many years in Bosch.
Yes.
Especially when you refer to auto tech, it's a big industry, controlled by large players. The market dynamics is slow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine how much time is taking to release a new car model. It's taking ages, right?
Yeah,
it's not a software app.
Yeah.
The regulation that is required to meet safety protocols, procedures. So it's a very, even when it moves fast, relatively when we look at the last, 10, 15 years, remember the first Prius is an hybrid car, and now we have fully electrical and so on. Even then it could take 10 to 15 years to have a change. And okay, big players is one thing, but when you have a startup that needs to survive the competition, the regulation, the safety, the all these struggles, and do it within 10, 15 years, when market expectations are, maybe exit 5 to 10 years, it's not trivial. It's not trivial at all to trace the right players, to invest. Even take a player like Mobilion, which is a huge Israeli success in this domain.
Yeah.
People tend to forget they were established in the mid-90s, right?
Yeah.
So we are talking now about a 20 years old company. It's not trivial at all. And so picking the right players is risky.
It is.
But that's the nature of the beast.
Yes, that was truly enlightening. My question is, which technologies are poised to dominate the market in deep tech within automotive industry? Like now we are seeing that electric cars are in the market and they are taking over the market like really fast. So what are new technologies that are upcoming, especially in automotives, that we'll see that they are taking over the whole market in recent years?
Okay, I can start. You can compliment me. I would say that definitely, electrification is a big thing.
Yeah.
If I look 10 years backward, I think maybe the main hurdle was battery technologies.
It was.
And if you recall, range anxiety and so on, and with the regular ICE car, you have 50 liters of gasoline, and you can drive 500 kilometers or so. I think the battery is not the main hurdle anymore. I mean, with modern cars, we can have 60, 80, 100 kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
And a reasonable car can do 5 kilometers per 1 kilowatt hour. So the range is not the issue. But now the anxiety moved elsewhere. It moved to charging time, right?
Yeah.
First, so there is. I think we have, an infrastructure gap we need to close. First, go find a vacancy, right? An empty slot that you can charge.
Yes.
And second, instead of taking 5 minutes, it could take half an hour to an hour, even for relatively a fast charge, right?
Yeah.
And time is of essence. So I think because of that infrastructure gaps and the capacity to it we have in different parts of the world, we will see for a long time an interim solution is hybrids of some kind.
Yeah.
So how much you want to throttle between a classical gasoline car or an hybrid on a fully electrical. I mean, Norway is one extreme, right? That you have a country that I think most of the power is hydroelectrical and generous government subsidies, so they move to fully electrical or halfway there or 60% there. And in other countries, you'll see different pace and a different mix of cars. So that's I think fast charging batteries, that's a technology and infrastructure issue. Certainly we see, and the industry struggles for quite a while with the issue of autonomy, full autonomous cars. And I think maybe when we look back 10 years ago, we were pretty naive about it because, when you see all these nice ads, driving on a highway in a nice way, in a nice day, in a nice weather is relatively an easy task, technically. But soon when you go to when you go off the highway and the weather is not so good, and we are talking about an urban environment which is utterly uncontrolled, right? You have other passengers, other drivers, people on scooters, car work, road works. It's very hard suddenly to understand all the entire situation that we are on the road. So we continue to do the pace to full autonomy. But I remember a few years ago when I said to people it could be something between 2035 to 2050. They said that I'm overly conservative. I'm not sure anymore. And definitely within autonomous, I mean, we see all these huge the market is boiling with generative AI and the impact that we see now with ChatGPT. It's everywhere, certainly over internet technology and text and AI and images and so on. But definitely we see a large room for it in automotive as well, whether within design of the cars, using it to simulate edge cases, to train the autonomous cars, predictive maintenance afterwards, and myriad of applications, urban applications, mobile applications, digital applications that Avi mentioned earlier that generative AI can support, and the entire interface with the driver. When you are in the car, your hands are busy if it's not full autonomous, then maybe talking to the car would be the most obvious thing to do instead of touching screens or buttons and so on that interfere with your driving. So that's definitely an issue, and we didn't even talk about maybe beyond batteries, about hydrogen fueled cars.
Yeah, this is something I wanted to talk
like
here.
That is coupled to the energy markets and so on.
Yeah, like apart from the electric cars, there are ideas about hydrogen cars too. So is there any way that we'll see something related to hydrogen and its technology in automotive industry?
I believe so. It's the industry is going through that direction for at least 20 years. We see that technology is improving all the time with regard to hydrogen, but it's still not economic. It's not economic on two sides. One is the vehicle side, and even more challenging is the infrastructure side that we talked about with regard to electricity. Take into account that when you talk to electricity, you already have the grid. So what you are missing is just, and David was talking about it, just the charger, the connector between the grid and the vehicle. Where in hydrogen, the entire value chain is not there. So you need to come up with a solution that will enable fast deployment and easy deployment of hydrogen almost everywhere. and that's a real challenge. So I believe that although hydrogen presents a very interesting solution, it's still way there is a long way until we'll see it as a commercial solution.
Okay.
I just want to add another issue you asked about with regard to potential interesting, new technologies coming, and I would add another layer, which is going from ground transportation to also to aerial transportation.
Yeah.
We see just the tip of the iceberg with drones, having last mile solution deliveries and so on.
Yeah.
We'll see more and more of those in the coming year, and I believe that within, again, 15 to 20 years, aerial transportation would be a much more important part of the entire transportation solution ecosystem.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be just, one solution. You'll be moving from different modularities of transportation solutions.
Well, it's fascinating to hear about this, and it will be more fascinating to witness such incredible technology in near future. My next question is, you have been what has been the motivating factor that has kept you engaged in this high-tech industry for over 20 years? You both have been working more than 20 years. So what is the factor that kept you motivated the whole time?
I'll try to to answer that on my side, and David on his. I think that imagination of how can we move. The humanity as a whole is all around transportation solution or moving from place to place. And we are all the time playing with different ideas. Okay, it could be better vehicles. It could be even bringing people from place to place without vehicles. Okay, try to imagine it. Science fiction has multiple solutions of how you do that.
Yeah, it has.
And for us as humans that want to connect with each other and being in multiple places at the shortest time possible in between. So having the transportation medium as short and easy and seamless as possible, it triggers imagination all the time. And I think that whoever is within that is constantly thinking, although on the day-to-day we are working on very on the bits and the pieces of each solution, and the battery needs to be a bit more with that, but the overall is imagination. How can I create something that will change the entire ecosystem and will bring me and the public in general to have something that is not yet there. That's the
motivation.
I think the motivation and what keeps us going in this search of additional solutions. David, maybe you have a better answer for that.
Yeah, no, I think it's maybe it's a personal path, right? But I'm in automotive since 2012.
Yeah.
And actually, if I look at my life story, I was as a kid, I was a geek, liking physics and electronics and stuff like that. And I remember still building these small drones and radio sets and more signaling and so on. So, when I grew up a little bit, and then after I completed my PhD in electro-optics, I joined actually the telecommunication industry.
Yeah.
And I spent there until 2011. That's 15 years. Now, if you look at the telecommunication in general, even what we do right now, we communicate, right? So we are practically moving bits from one place to another, right?
Yeah.
The media is keep changing, I mean, many years ago we used to send letters and then emails, and now we can do a video chat easily. And and Avi and I are sitting in the same room, and he's using his laptop and I'm using my mobile phone. So but funny, I think when I reached this end of period in telecom, because of the huge success, I started to feel that the technology edge is moving elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right? If you think of internet technologies, www and so on, I mean, first we shifted, I remember sending my master's thesis to my supervisor. He was in the USA back then, and I'm talking about late 80s. And I was talking to people that there is a university, and I remember telling to people that there is this university network, BitNet, and I can send in files to FTP, and everybody thought it's science fiction. So I felt the edge was moving. And if at first, all these technologies mainly impacted communications and enterprise software and gaming, of course, and stuff like that, then suddenly it started to disrupt, more traditional ecosystems. Suddenly we see technology in food, in logistics, in shipping,
everything.
And then, serendipity. I took a break, and a friend called me and he said, there is this company Bosch, and they have a VC and they have a branch in Israel, and they're looking for somebody. And I said, wow, interesting. A car used to be a piece of electromechanics, right?
Yeah.
And now basically it's kind of a data server with sensors, large battery, and wheels, right? So
yeah,
we are shifting the bits and the physical elements all together. I think that's fascinating. That's sci-fi.
Yeah, it is. It is extremely interesting, actually. So why the jump from telecommunication to directly to the automotives?
For me, look, that's what I said. That's why I like this word serendipity, because I felt that, telecommunications, what I did back then was reaching some kind of an edge, and maybe it's also subjective and personal, but it blends together. And then I got this offer to join Bosch, and I like very much the fact that, cars, moving elements, real things in the real world. And then one thing led to another. I started at Bosch at the VC, and then I moved to the corporate research to establish an AI research center in Israel. And through the industry, through the years in the ecosystem and so on, I met Avi. So we are all friends, and that's c'est la vie. One thing leads to another, right? So it's always a mix of strategy, interest, and maybe meet the right people at the right junctions.
It is. Yeah. Your experiences are truly inspiring. Like, both of you have done like amazing thing and interesting things in your life. So my question
I would
is,
like to add something to that. If you look at transportation today, and 25, 30 years ago, and the mindset of the entire industry, that transportation today accounts for 25, maybe even more % of greenhouse gas emissions.
Yeah.
And having the entire industry shift towards thinking about how to reduce that dramatically, not just 1% or 2%, but shifting to electric mobility and maybe hydrogen following that.
Sustainable
shifting to shared mobility. So not not anymore owning a car. I don't need the asset as an asset to stand in my parking or garage. I can share it with others and utilize the asset much more. So having that and seeing that shift in the last few years to sustainable mobility, it's also a very, for me, I come from the clean tech area, the climate tech part. So for me, it's a major event. You know, the public opinion, the government, and the entire industry is moving towards one direction of more sustainable mobility. I think that's huge. And that's been so just in the last few years. It's not something that happened, you know, 100 years, and we are seeing just now the results of that. So that's a big trigger and a big driver for to continue with that.
Is there anything you want to share with me, which can enlighten me in this specific area of deep tech for my future and futures of other youngsters who are looking forward for new innovations?
So I think overall Avi's advice is excellent. You know, we say there is a saying, right, that it takes the village to raise a kid. And I think the days of the isolated scientists in the lab I think are over, and maybe it takes it takes an ecosystem to raise a startup or to raise entrepreneurs and so on. So definitely, I mean, you know, basic studies is obvious, and I spent many years in academia, but maybe it's a prerequisite, but not that it's necessary, but not sufficient, right? So meeting people, expose your ideas, and get exposed to others, and I would say that you know, there is an Israeli film, and one of the protagonists is saying you have to start as fast as you can, and then gradually increase your pace. So you know, run faster. You don't necessarily need to break all things, but you know, the world is moving faster and faster, and we need to keep up. And to keep up, we cannot do it alone. We have to do it with other good people. Stick to good people.
Yeah, that is amazing. Amazing advice. Thank you so much. It's truly been a pleasure having you on the show. The conversation was incredibly enlightening and enjoyable. Best of luck with all of your ongoing projects, and I'm eagerly waiting to look forward for something exciting, innovating to come from Mobilion Ventures, especially. Thank you again, and I'm looking forward to reconnect with you soon.
Good. Thank you for having us. We are looking forward for an update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Abraham and Mr. Feldman.